too. We'll play it back and we'll see. You know what I could do differently in episode 2. So now we just need Zach. I don't know if I caught it, Mel. Do you think you're gonna have video up, or should I just assume that you're live and ready to go, as live as you will be?
I think I'm good for now. I don't have a camera on this laptop, so
Oh,
my stuff needs to.
all right, that works for us. I should. I wonder if I could change your avatar here, though. Let's see.
Yeah, do
I wonder if
it.
you could take a quick second just to crop out one of the cool drawings that Tam's done.
That would be great. Well, I could upload things to the library here, but as far as like the avatar for the image, I don't know. I don't know if I control that or Melanie might control that. Right now, you're just
Oh,
a series of geometric patterns.
yeah, I can see that.
I bet you could just
Let's see.
drop an image over it, though, right?
Oh yeah, good call. I could probably just like drag something and position it right there.
Yeah.
Let's see about doing that. Let's see here. Super professional on my end, guys, just so you know.
Well, that's why it's episode 0, right?
Yep. Let's see here. Google Drive. Power Outage. I don't think I saved your face. Are you receiving like an old-timey fax right now? Hey, it's Zach.
The monkey doesn't translate to my webcam.
All right, let's drag Zach in here. Zach, can you hear us? Oh, whoa, that was pretty cool. You walked away from the video a little bit, but because there's like this delay, it kind of just looks like you ghosted out of the scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to fight a little bit. My camera, it's not good. I think it.
We're all connecting on like 28K baud modem. Somebody's playing.
Well, we can put this as a Patreon incentive. If you want us to have nice cameras, then yeah.
That's true. Let's see here. Zach, can you hear us? I don't know if Zach is with us yet. Avatar locations are player controlled. Avatar sizes are. I can't set the. I don't think I can set your avatars. I think that's all you. But that's okay. Oh, next message from Zach. Can I get the barcode again? Barcode. Oh, QR code for the tablet. Right. How do I do that? I sent Zach the barcode, the QR code for the for joining in, and I think I also just streamed that. So, you know, anybody is now welcome to join. So,
Oh, fun.
good stuff.
Do you want a 30-person group for?
Well, it's not like it's going to make this any less confusing. And Zach returns. Are you with us, Zach? Hello? Oh, hey. I see Zach texting. He says hello, by the way. Hi, Zach. Mrs. Roboto. Yes, we are potentially doing Mrs. Roboto, but not just yet. Today, what we are going to cover is a little bit about the lore, and we're going to go into some character creation. What say you?
Sounds good.
Nice. So we're just waiting to see if... oh, look, Paper Airplane joined us. Hey, Paper. So I just need to see if we can get Zach communicating like a human.
Mel, could you say something too, real quick? Did she say anything?
I didn't hear her say anything, but I've heard her speak in the past, so I don't know if she's not hearing you.
I wonder if we're not hearing each other. Because I've heard Mel on the Twitch stream, but I haven't heard her here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so am I doing... maybe... should I reconnect? Should I reconnect to chat to update settings? No, that's just for me. That's not for everybody else.
I'm gonna try that computer. Anyone but you.
Okay. But I hear you crystal clear. So, Alex, did you just not hear Melanie say that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
No.
Oh, wait. Now I hear her.
Oh, there you go.
Hi.
So, Zach forgot the iPad doesn't do video. So, working on a potential solution.
The iPad doesn't do video? Or just for funny?
I don't know.
I could have swore it had a camera.
Well, the worst case scenario is, I am curious. Zach, can you at least hear the things that I'm saying so I don't have to retype everything that I'm saying, so that way you can be kind of a part of this, but not necessarily narrating if you don't have the capability just yet. And just so everybody knows, let's see. I swear this is on your end. It was happening to us last night too. Yeah, it's most likely on my end. I just don't know what. I mean, I ran a speed test and my speed is just fine. It could be that my PC is a piece of crap. That's a possibility.
It does need a good processing ability.
I don't know. I have a laptop that I can switch to that's a little bit newer, but that would mean having to install OBS, the whole thing. So I could test something out for the next time, but I mean, from me hearing, like, I'm looking at the stream health, and the stream health says I'm excellent.
Okay.
So
these are all kinks we can get figured out as it goes on. I feel like most listen to a couple tricky first episodes, so.
Paper is saying it's ports on the router, mate. I don't know. I'll open it up. I'll open up whatever I gotta open up on the modem side. But I don't think I have. I think it's I think it's pretty much open. Not much secretive there. Hey, Zach's back with a Zach attack. Zach, are you able to hear us? Can you Morse code something to us? This little dip
Oh,
dot
can you
thing.
chat? Can you type in the Twitch chat?
Yeah, he's typing in chat. Let me see if I can break out chat so that it's visible.
Because if he's well, I guess you could just stream the chat somehow, maybe. But I was gonna say if he's typing in Twitch chat, all that would be saved for future future viewings of the video.
Yeah, I mean, like he's well. I guess he could jump. He could chat in Twitch chat.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's also on Roll20 chat. Seeing him. I mean, let's see here. He's working on a potential solution. So I just want to make sure that he can hear us. Let's see here. Working on getting video. He's working on getting video. That's
Okay.
good. So I think it's safe enough for me to kind of get into an idea about what Power Outage is, what the world kind of is, and maybe we could get Zach caught up as we jump back to it. Alex, is that a book, or did you actually print out the book?
No, this is for notes. I'm not that far ahead of then.
Okay.
But I thought about typing notes, but I have such a hard time working with a digital file, even though that's 80-90% of it to do. Yeah.
So
Discord might be a good idea for us.
yeah, that's an option that we might go with. I just saw yesterday that let me keep the paper. I just saw yesterday that a friend of mine who streams, Matt from Ascension Stories, he uses Discord for his video chat, and he's got all like the image, like he's able to drag and drop the videos wherever he wants, rather than being built into Roll20. So
that's cool.
if we have Discord, maybe we could set it up through that, and we'll try to set that up in advance. Let's see here, paper airplane. Ports on the router may see if your stream software requires specific ports open, or if Windows Firewall is blocking stuff out. But the most common problem with internet VoIP not working, like vent and such, is router blocking incoming or outgoing stuff. You guys called in via Discord. Could try swapping to Skype if you are. Paper, we're using Roll20's built-in application, and I want to say that 2 years ago, when I last used it, it was not the most robust. And it still does not appear to be the most robust solution. So we'll probably switch it out for the next time. But do you guys want to get started?
Sure.
Okay. Well, we've got at least Zach's mug here to stare at us ominously from. So is that Joe's Pizza? That's Joe's Pizza. So at the very least, he has a quality in his selection of pizza. That's Joe's Pizza, New York City. Featured on BuzzFeed. Wait, was it BuzzFeed or the Try? Oh, not Try Guys. It was BuzzFeed. It was a worth it winner. It's good stuff. Okay, so what is Power Outage? Power Outage is a tabletop RPG similar to Dungeons and Dragons and a bunch of other gaming systems out there. But it is different in that it's primarily designed to be DM'd or GM'd by adults and played with kids. But from what I've seen so far, everybody that has played the game has been an adult. So I shouldn't say that. I have heard from people that have played the game with their kids, and I've gotten positive feedback. But on the whole, like I'd say it's like an 80-20 mix of like just straight adults playing versus adults playing with their kids. So that's kind of what we're doing now. But definitely, I encourage you all to take that kind of childlike innocence in exploration. You know, the classic rules that you might be familiar with of not splitting the party and all that. You know, those core nerd mechanics are out the window, and just do what you want. Approach this like you're coming in fresh. Show of, well, not really a show of hands because it would just be Alex. How many have you guys played tabletops at all before this?
I can go first, I guess. So I have been playing indie for the past 2 years and running Call of Cthulhu as well. When I Call of Cthulhu, it's a little bit more open-ended like this, where it's just kind of like, what do you guys want to do? And let them control love chaos, because everything always gets crazy when you let everybody just have fun. So
There we go. I just saw in chat, Melanie said that her connection lost, so she's gonna reconnect in another room.
okay.
Melanie, you there? I saw the little bar
Oh,
thing.
yes. Sorry.
Hey, Melanie. Have you?
I'm gonna move into a room.
Okay. All right. So I will wait for
Bear
her
with
to
me.
get back. Yes, take your time. I'll wait for her to get back before we jump into introductions. Especially since Zach isn't here either. Except that he's here in spirit, so we're all good with that. So yeah, Power Outage is meant to be played by adults with kids, and the kids take on the role of superheroes in this alternate Earth setting called Outage, Alaska. So it's Outage, Alaska. It's a continent-sized island that that just appeared actually late in the early 19th century. And when it first came about, it was heavily contested between the superpowers of Russia and Japan. So they were initially doing some colonization, and then that escalated into full-blown warfare. Eventually, with the purchase of Alaska, America made a deal to also purchase the entirety of Outage, which, you know, wasn't necessarily Russia's land to sell, but we bought it anyway, and in typical fashion, we're like, okay, well, I guess we own this now. So, to make a long story short, oh, Melanie's back. To make a long story short, what we're at now is that let's see, I could try Skype. Okay, well, where we're at now in Power Outage is that so the tensions have settled down, and now each of those three main powers have presences on the island in their own way. So the Americans basically make a claim to the island in total, but they primarily operate out of Seward's Refuge. It's a large military and scientific facility. I should pull up the map, actually. That would be a good idea. Let me do that. So let's bring this up. Power outage. I should have done that in advance. Oh well. Super professional, yo.
It's all good.
Power outage. Melanie, are you back with us?
Yes.
Nice.
Hey.
All right, so let's see what we're seeing here on OBS.
Hopefully,
Ooh. So let's close that out. Let's open that up. All right. So, welcome to Power Outage, y'all. So, oops, I just expanded that. I didn't mean to. You might not actually see this unless you're looking at the Twitch stream, because I didn't know how to add it to Roll20. But this is the continent of Power Outage as it is today. So in the early 60s or so, what started cropping up is that they discovered that people were exhibiting powers, and a lot of the so any of the kids that are playing are taking on the role of these up and coming superheroes, and so each of you guys will be creating characters, heroes in this world. So there are in Power Outage there are 5 major regions, and I'll describe a little bit about each one. So we have Shorai City. Shorai City is kind of a almost like a Neo-Tokyo futuristic metropolis. It's built over an ancient civilization that actually digs deeper and deeper into the earth. Let's see here. Something from Ben. Anyone hearing anything from me? No, I'm sorry, Zach. Let me know if you are speaking, or if you can hear me at least. We can't hear Zach, but Zach, if you can let us know if you can hear us, then at the very least we could, have you participating to an extent, or at least so that you can follow along, so that you can be creating a character when we jump in the future. So, Shorai City, again, futuristic Neo-Tokyo. Let me pull up the see there. So separate from that, we have the Autumni Zavad, which is a permanently, it's enshrouded in darkness, and it's still somewhat of a mystery as to why that is. But it is fueled by atomic power. A lot of the rare minerals that are found in that area of outage helped create an atomic age that is that far surpasses what we have now. However, I mean, there's still definitely some of the there's definitely some oddities that occur because you have people living in basically a whilst technically safe-ish, still radioactive environment.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, it's minimized. Uh, and then you have Seward's Refuge, which has it's at its center has a space elevator, which has basically that was a collaborative effort between all countries, so that they actually worked towards discovering why the Autumni Zavad is enshrouded in darkness, and they still are unsure, but they're working it out. But it's a scientific base, and it's also a military base. And one of its major roles right now is keeping the growth of the overgrowth in check, which leads me to the fourth section of the island, which is the overgrowth. The overgrowth is a fantasy realm. It's kind of like almost it's a sentient forest. So when the Americans were doing experimentation in genetics and planting crops and such and trying to make superfoods, something happened that interacted with the environment of outage itself, which caused this large sentient forest and jungle to basically grow almost overnight. So it's been if left unchecked, it would completely take over and dominate the entire island. So in typical American fashion, and I gotta tell you, I did this prior to 2016, so don't rail on me.
It's not political.
It's not political at all, but they built a wall to contain them.
Okay.
Completely not political. I swear to God. So yeah, I mean, there's laser fencing and the whole nine, and it basically the overgrowth actually houses quite a lot of the more fantastical elements that you'll see on Outage, including whispers of troll-like creatures, sentient trees, and there is actually an area of within there's a section of the overgrowth that is called the city of Genoa, which is basically it's a kind of like a refuge for the outcasts from the rest of the island, as well as a school for, and it's a school for sandwich wizards. So it's wizards that perform the magical craft of sandwich making. So there's that. The
Is this
overgrowth
something I
has
can
a.
aspire to be in game as well?
I'm sorry.
Is that something I can aspire to be in well, Sand Wizard?
Absolutely. Oh no, you totally can, and I will jump into some of the pre-generated characters so you can get an idea of what's out there. But one of the great things about let me before I get into a tangent, let me describe that last area.
Oh,
The
yeah,
last
sorry.
area is the sink. The sink is interesting because it is continually changing in that it's a peninsula on the island in the bottom, in the I guess the southeast, that is constantly sinking into the ocean. But on the other end, in the more landlocked area of the island, land is actually coming out of the ground, and after the sediment starts to fall away, people are discovering that ruins exist. So they're not exactly sure how it's occurring. There's no scientific explanation as of yet as to what's happening, but it appears that there is a constant state of sinking and growth in that area. But the sink itself mostly survives on the water. And Zach is typing. I'll find out what he says soon. Beeb's bad connection. For me, I don't know if I have a bad connection. We'll find out at the end of this, and we'll just wing it from there. So if no one can hear me, I apologize. I know that paper's saying that he's having trouble hearing me, but worst case scenario, I'll post this to YouTube, and then we could see where it's at from there. But I'll make some tweaks afterwards. So that's the 5 sections. So you guys have access to the books, the digital copies of the books, hopefully.
Yep.
There is. I also have. Let me pull this up here. A brief example of some of the pre-generated characters, not to influence what you guys are doing, but just so you get an idea of what's out there. Let me pull this up here for you. Pre-generated characters. And you'll actually see their symbols at the top there of the Roll20 screen. Let's see here. Where's the pre-generated heroes? Pre-gen characters. There we go. And let me turn that on Roll20. Or on OBS. Alright. So, some of the characters, just so you have an idea, is Shieldster. Dwingaloo. It's an alien from the Dwingaloo area of galaxy. Sorry. Suburbanite. Stunt Double has seemingly the power to split into 2, but actually he's actually jumping in time, like a split second forwards and back. So he has that power. So it seems like he's doubling, but he's not. There's Punchable. Grew up on in the shanty town of the Sink. Lawyar, one of the finest Naval Academy lawyers at an early age. Pebcac, which is a little nerd humor there. Problem exists between computer and chair. The Pocket Protector, classic. Has the power to shrink to a pocket-sized version. Rock and Troll, straight from the the troll village that exists inside the overgrowth is musically attuned, so uh, all the residents of their like love and like kind of flow to the rhythms of classical music, with the exception of rock and roll, who goes his own way. Then there's Sandwich, um, and definitely an option. She with powers like prosciutto and quicksand. Uh, so Mayo Clinic apparently, which is a healing power. So fun stuff on that end. So let me describe some of. So basically, when you guys are creating characters, the idea is you can be whatever you want. If you want to be a robot, if you want to be an alien, if you want to be a ghost, if you want to be whatever you want to be, if you want to be a human or a dwarf or a sentient plant or a whatever you choose to be, you have the ability to be. And whatever your origin story is, you have the ability to choose that as your origin story. So I'm going to jump into the character sheet here and give you an idea of how to create your characters, and then we'll take it from there. I don't know if we're gonna. It's already pretty late for you guys. I know that it's already 10:41. So just get an idea from you guys. How much more time do you guys have available before we have to call it quits for the night?
For me, I have at least 30 minutes, I'd say, and that should be no problem at all.
Melanie? Same?
Yeah, me.
Okay. So I think we could wrap it up in about half an hour. Before we go into that, though, I want to announce the winner of the dice giveaway, and that winner is drum roll. Somebody with the ability to make drums. There we go.
Drum sound.
Drum sound. Insert drum sound here. And I ran this yesterday after 12 midnight, and I basically sorted the finalists randomly and rolled a virtual d20 and landed on a 5, which means Liquid Fire is the winner. So congratulations, Liquid Fire. I should probably hide that. Congratulations, Liquid Fire. I will post that you've won shortly after the stream, so that way you if you're not available to watch tonight, you get to find out that you've won, and send me your address and I'll send you over the dice. So, yay! Congratulations. All right, and now let's see if our viewership drops from 4 down to.
Already. Oh, well.
Okay, so let's get into some character creation, guys. And I'm sorry, I keep saying guys. I should not say guys all the time. I should say y'all.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Let's get into some character creation. Let's turn this back on. There we go. So, how do you create a character? First step. Do you guys have character sheets in front of you? So, I mean, you can see it on Twitch if you guys want to see it on Twitch. It won't appear in Roll20 because I haven't built it into Roll20 yet. But if you're looking at it at Twitch, you can, or if you want to follow along on your own sheets, you can. First step is to put in your name, which is who you are. When you guys are done creating your character sheets, if you could send them to me as copies,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Next is to think about what you want your character to be. So try to envision what kind of character you want to create, what kind of hero. If you have a hero in mind, by all means, go with it. And the first step to developing that is picking a name. And sometimes you could actually start with picking the name first and then figuring it out after that. In fact, a majority of the villains and heroes that I've created have been coming up with the stupid pun first and then coming up with like the backstory afterwards. So we're picking the names. And if you guys have any ideas, stop me now. And do you guys have any ideas of a hero that you might want to create?
So I literally was thinking of a living man. His name is Post-it.
Okay.
He delivers us from evil, of course.
Nice.
Huh.
Very nice. Okay. Great. So now, if your character has a secret identity, then list that. That way, from a narrative perspective, we can kind of like play along the line of the like. I want to know that if you're always in character, I want to know that. I mean, like if you're a 20-foot tall sentient tree, then it's pretty important for me to know that you're not pretending to be a newspaper boy. But if you are, then um, then that's also hilarious. So it'll be a bit difficult for you to ride the bike, but whatever the case may be. So let me know if you have a secret identity. And this is something I'd like to do today. I want, or actually no, I guess since since Zach is not able to jump into the discussion, we'll have to come back to it. I do want you guys to think up a team name. So I'll share once you guys come up with your characters, I'll share each of your characters or we'll share each of our characters with each other. We'll come up with a team name, and then that'll be the team name described in the next show. In episode 1, we're still in episode 0. So we're all starting off at level 1 at the start. Now you select your speed. Your speed is going to be 4 plus a 1d4 dice roll. Do you guys want me to roll that for you now, or do you guys want to roll that on your
own? Or I can roll.
Yeah. Okay. Roll for me, and then just jot down your speeds. I want to see how that looks.
We should decide this now, I guess. Do we trust physical dice as well as the digital dice?
You guys are all heroes, so I am going to trust your dice rolls.
All right. Sounds good.
That's you.
All right, so you
I
have
also got it too.
All right, so you both have a speed of 6, so that's good. That's a good speed.
I feel like he's a delivery man, but that's okay. We'll just have a bunch of angry customers.
Well, that might come into play when it comes to your powers. When we get into that, there are powers that help increase your travel speed.
Okay.
So next up is the location of origin. So you have those 5 regions. Try to pick one of those regions. And if you guys have the opportunity to read some of the description of the island, like there's a little bit more in-depth versions of what I just described shortly. Look into that and let me know what you guys come up with, where you want to come from, and
Okay.
that'll be your point of origin. That doesn't necessarily mean where you're starting from. So the way that the adventures work is I'm going to be guiding you through the adventures, and part of playing is discovering why you guys are where you are, why you guys have, like, we're going to jump into you guys being a team, but we are going to explore as time goes on how you got to be where you are as part of playing the game. And I think we lost Melanie. Poor Mel.
We did. That
Okay,
dice roll
well,
was too intense.
yeah, but we'll jump into. I'll just catch her up as we come back to it. Oh, hey, Matt joined us. Hey, Matt. Super professional stream, as you can tell.
Keeping it loose, keeping
Yeah.
it improv.
Loosey goosey. Okay, so where are we at? We got picking your origin, and next up is creating a biography. So giving me your little bit of your rundown of who you are, how you came to be, what your drive is, what what drove you to be the hero that you are.
All right.
So then we start moving into some of the mechanics of it, and we look at our stats. Oh, Melanie's back. Hey, Melanie.
Hey, sorry.
It's okay. We'll figure all these kinks out as we move on. And we may not even have everything, adjusted for the next stream, but who cares? We're having fun. Okay, so Power Outage is to an extent simplified for the sake of kids. And I should figure out what I'm going to do in order to see. Let's see here. Just have some fun. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, of course. But thank you for joining us, Matt. Pleasure to have you here. Matt runs Ascension Stories. He's a really good guy. And he has his own crew. So, welcome. This is my crew. Kind of. Or I'm part of their crew, most likely. So, attributes. There are 4 major attributes in Power Outage: impact, power, armor, and yield point. Oh, sorry, I changed that. It's now, this is an old character sheet. My apologies. It's actually Omer, which is a play on ohms, which is the ability to resist. Uh-oh. So, something happened on Melanie's end as soon as I made that pun. I've destroyed something on her end.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
That's alright.
You also hear that?
Hold on. I'll be back.
So let's see here. Let's jump to what page did I say is the base stats? Page 18. So page 18. I should probably just jump to page 18 right there. Bam. So everybody starts off with the same level, the same numbers. You have 2 impact, you have 2 power, and you have 10 Omer. Your yield points are always 10 plus d6. So roll a 10 and then roll a d6, then add that to 10, and then that will be your YP, and I'll explain each of these stats to you. All right, so you have 14 YP. Great. I'll roll a dice. That's 3. So if Zach wants to use any of those dice rolls, he can. Although he might want to roll his own because they've been pretty low. Although that 4 for speed wasn't too bad. Oh wait, he rolled a d4. Oh great. There you go. Way to use roll 20 there, Zach. Uh, okay, so
I can see you. I think if you refresh his reconnect, I might see you because that's all I need. But I can see Zach's webcam.
oh, you can.
Hey,
Should I refresh? Oh, hold off for now. Oh, is he speaking?
yeah, he's speaking.
Oh man, I did not know that. So let me. I guess I'll refresh. All right, I might be disconnected temporarily as I refresh, although other people can hear me. So let me refresh. Okay. Oh, there you go. Zach, you there, buddy?
Hi.
Hey, sorry about that, Zach.
You sound a lot better now, actually.
All right, here we
Coming in
go.
loud and clear now.
Let me drag you guys. I am so sorry, Zach. I've missed out on you this whole time.
I wasn't saying anything. I just thought it was funny that we rolled the exact same dice both times.
All right. We got the whole crew now here. Look at this. Well, Melanie's still MIA, but that's okay. She'll be back. She got attacked by this weird garbage disposal at some point.
About her. Come to think of it.
Um, okay. So let's describe some of these attributes. Impact. Impact describes all of your humanly traits. And when I say humanly, I mean things that you would normally be within the capacity of a human being. It is your punch and your kick, which is at level 1, it's either a solid 2 points to somebody's YP, or it is a 1d4 roll. And we have a mechanic that is going to be built in later on that allows at later levels to have different impact attacks, basically. But impact also describes your presence as a person. So when you are talking to somebody, it describes how forceful you appear. It describes your ability to charm them, your ability to intimidate them. So it impacts a lot of the social characteristics of gameplay. The next attribute is power. Power describes your ability to use one of your powers, the likelihood that it will go off successfully. So you have that, but then you also have it describes all of your heroic characteristics, and that falls into both your sensory capabilities. So you being a hero, you have just innate capabilities to sense things around you, to be aware of danger, whether that comes from your ghost-like powers or your years of training or the spores that you release into the air or the nanobots that are floating about you, whatever the case may be. Your ability to sense the world around you is tied to your power. Additionally, just from a GM's perspective, power also relates to what I call heroic knowledge, which is for kids, it would be my ability to help them along the process by giving them clues that they would know because of their experience as a hero. So, like if I say, hey, why don't you roll a power check for me right now? And then they roll a power check, and it's like, okay, you know from your prior adventures that typically if you can't find the key for something, that it's hidden under a rock or something like that, and then they could start exploring for rocks and things like that to try to find a false rock, so like things like along that nature. If the kids are struggling and they need to move on from one place to another, then I could use that as a dice roll
That's good.
to bring them back into the game. Hey, Melanie. And let me pull up. Oh, hey, look at that. The robot laugh, that's probably my robot laugh. I don't know. I sound like a robot from time to time. It's actually a part of my character. Sorry. Uh, let's see here. So that's powers. Omer is basically it's the ability to resist an attack. It's pretty straightforward. So if you're running impact attack, you're rolling a d20, you're adding your impact score, and it's greater or less than any creature or object or event's Omer. So everything has an Omer. So a villain has an Omer, you have an Omer. Your ability to overcome an obstacle has an Omer score. A girder that you have to lift off of of a broken down construction site has an Omer that you have to roll against. Everything that basically provides resistance is an Omer. If you're rolling your impact attack, it's a d20 plus your impact versus Omer, greater or less than. If you're trying to activate a power, you're rolling your d20 and you're adding your power, and then that's versus an Omer. And if you succeed, then you move on to whatever the effect is of the power. So it's very straightforward, very simplified mechanics. Now, when you're creating your characters for the first time, you get 2 base points that you get to add to whatever you want in any way that you want. So you could add 2 to impact, you could add 2 to power, or you could add 2 to Omer. Or you can mix them up and say 1 to one and 1 to another, however the case may be. As you increase in levels, you gain more attribute points, which you can add to things. And I'd encourage you to consider the characters that you're creating. So if you are creating a character that is supportive, you might want to add more towards your power and your Omer. If you're creating a character that is looking to deal some damage, maybe you're doing power and impact. If you're a close-up fighter type, then maybe you are using impact and Omer, whatever the case may be. So that's attributes, pretty straightforward. Your YP is your yield points. So YP, very similar to what you'd normally refer to as HP. But the reason I call it YP is because there is no death in Power Outage. Basically, heroes fight until they lose their yield points, and then at a certain level, they decide to yield, which means they have to hold off or take a moment to reflect. There are actions that you can do in combat or in a combat environment to restore YP through regeneration. And you guys are encouraged to help each other in regenerating YP through encouraging each other. That helps regenerate powers or regenerate your yield points. everything also has, for the most part, everything has yield points, both you and the villains. So you guys aren't necessarily killing extreme close-up Zach there. That's okay. Um, you guys aren't destroying villains into a bloody pulp, you know. Uh, in fact, the way that Power Outage is designed, and we're running on time, so I'll speed this last part up. But just so you have an idea, the way that Power Outage is designed is that in every scenario, you have the option of using a non-violent method for resolving the combat. So if you want to resolve a situation without, duking it out, you can basically roll 3 impact attacks, but you roll 3 impact against Omer, and you have to verbally give like some kind of cue or communication with whatever you're fighting to like kind of encourage them to yield. Now, whether you want to be that's a purely role playing mechanic. So whether you want to be forceful about it, or whether you want to be encouraging about it, however you want to play it is up to you or up to the player.
Sounds good.
So those are the base attributes. So when you're creating your character, you start with your base stats. Let's see here. Let's pull that back up. So you start with your base stats, you add 2 to your attributes, and then that's how you come up with your impact, your power, and your Omer. And then when you're doing your yield points, it's 10 plus a 1d6. So you roll a 1d6 and you add that, and that's your yield points. I just want to jump, since we're talking about role playing, I just want to jump to weaknesses. If you guys can, I'd like you to describe one weakness that your character has. I haven't come up with. Now, I'll determine down the line if we want to use a mechanic that comes into play from that weakness. But for now, I just want to have an idea of what your weakness is, and then we're going to GM it later, and we're going to communicate back and forth to determine if you guys are okay with the idea of whatever attribute I assign to that weakness if it were to ever become activated. Last but not least is the powers. So let's jump to the session here. So you guys will basically at the start, and I should really have written this down or come up with this in advance. Let's see here. Page character creation is on page 22. So you guys are going to create 5 powers. Now, how do you create powers? So if you look at the book, if you look at your copy of the Core Rules book, there are power tables. Let's see here. Powers are on page 42. So there are 3 types of powers. There are combat powers. Let's zoom to a more reasonable viewpoint here. There are combat powers that you see in red. There are utility powers that you see in green there. And there are supportive powers in blue. Now, at the start, you always have the first level of a power. So utility A, utility B, utility C. If you were to, down the line, get the higher version of the power, you need the prerequisite for that power in advance. So like in combat, you have like 3, 4 levels of. So like if I wanted combat A, then I need. If I wanted combat A2, then I need combat A in advance in order to get that. So the way that the tables work are the tables just have the effect of the power. It doesn't necessarily have the cause of the power. So if, for instance, combat A says 1d4 and you push the target back 1 space, not avoiding any obstacles. So if you push them into an obstacle, if you've positioned yourself that you can do that, then so be it. But you also do 1d4 damage if that power were to go off. Now, the reason that it has such a cruddy generic name of Combat A is because you come up with what creates that power. So you come up with the flavor text for that power as it pertains to the character. So if I am doing 1d4 damage and pushing them back because I'm throwing a snowball, or a flame ball, or a lightning ball, or I'm using psionic powers, or I'm, you know, if I'm a sports type, if I'm a sporty hero, I'm like chucking a football at them really hard, then so be it. So you come up with the flavor text for the power that aligns with the hero that you're creating, and attach it to the power that you have. They select.
Cool.
So there are no classes in Power Outage. You are basically creating the kind of hero you are based off of the types of power you're selecting. So if you're selecting combat heavy powers, then you're creating a very combative character. If you're creating a lot of utility in your character and you're selecting a lot of utility powers, then you've become more of like a utility type character for your character. Or you have maybe an even split, or you have, let's say you have a very supportive role, so you're boosting your fellow teammates. So I definitely encourage you guys to come up with your own characters however you want initially. And then when we share our characters with each other, there's definitely the opportunity to play around with changing things around based off of the group dynamic. So if we end up finding out that everybody picked supportive roles, then we're like, well, we might want a little bit more damage, or we might want a little bit more utility. So be it.
Cool. I like that a lot. I really, really like that.
Nice. Good.
Let's run the imaginative kid again.
Nice. Yeah, and that's the goal, you know? Like I don't want to have kids limited in what they can come up with to these classes that they have to pick from. I want them to be able to create whatever they want. And that's why, if anything, if you don't see a power that you like, you can create your own power and submit it to poweroutage.com. So poweroutagegame.com has a power submission section. So if you want to submit powers, you can, and then after some review and consideration, they become canon. Or if you don't, you know, you can just create them on your own. Because the big part about Power Outage is its guidance for how to play. It's not, I mean, I called it a core rules book, and I might want to change that name because it's really about guiding kids on how to create, or guiding groups on how to create a game that they enjoy.
Right, yeah.
But if you are using the power tables, I have created a section in the book on how to effectively combine powers. If you have an ice power that allows you to move faster but also do damage behind you, or whatever the case may be, however you guys wanted to combine multiple powers, you can. But I do have some like general guidelines, like for instance, you shouldn't combine more than 2 unique powers. for any single power that you're creating. Uh, and then if you're combining powers, you shouldn't have more than 2 powers that are of the same type. So shouldn't have shouldn't be doubling down necessarily on 2 combative powers, or at the very least, if you are, then you should have a maximum of 2. I have all those rules built into the book, so as you guys are playing, you guys can look through those. I know that you guys are fading, so we're gonna wrap it up there for tonight. And what do you guys think? Do you guys have ideas coming into your minds about the characters that you'll be creating?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm really liking my delivery boy post-it. So
Nice. Melanie, Zach, you guys good? Melanie's typing.
yeah.
Thumbs up. Excellent. Okay, so that was episode 0. We will, over the course of the week or 2, come up with some... No mic now. That's okay. We'll figure out the bugs. And even if we don't, we'll figure something out. We'll work something out. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we won't use Roll20. We'll do a lot more Theater of the Mind, and we'll use Google Hangouts. Maybe you'll use Discord. Whatever the case, whatever we could figure out to get this working, we'll get it working, and it'll be all good.
sounds good.
All right. Let me just check chat. Once again, I want to thank anybody that has popped in to check us out. Paper Airplane, thank you again for your support. Paper Airplane, by the way, became Power Outage's our highest patron,
Ooh.
donating $5 a month. That's awesome. And I want to congratulate
Our dice winner, I
our
assume.
dice winner, Liquid. Sorry. Oh no!
Oh no! Did it go away?
I lost it.
Or she won.
Where's the picture? Oh no! Fail. This is the Liquid Fire. There we go.
Okay.
Liquid Fire. Congratulations once again to Liquid Fire.
Congratulations.
The set of dice. And guys, do you guys want? I mean, I know that you guys. Yes, Liquid Fire. Thank you, Melanie and Zach. Do you guys want to plug anything before we go?
Oh.
Now's your chance. Starting with you, Alex. I never introduced everybody.
Oh, your mic just dropped out for me for a second. What's happening just right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I never introduced anybody.
Oh yeah.
I probably should have done that. So the team is Alex, Melanie, and Zach.
Yeah. Good to be here.
I am terrible at this.
It's all good. They don't do opening credits for movies anymore. We don't need introductions, just the credits at the end. That's fine.
There you go.
It's fun. Yeah.
So if anybody is nonverbal and wants to plug anything, by all means type it away and I will read it out loud, and I will also post it all to Twitter and stuff. If you guys are working on projects, if you guys aren't working on projects and want to call attention to any creators that are out there, by all means let me know, and let's get the word out. Spread the community. Alex?
So I don't have anything in the works at the moment. I am a PhD student, and so 80 to 90% of my life is PhD. If you go to my Twitch, which is Chino Twitter.
So that's Nappuccino.
Nappuccino.
Nice.
There should be a link to at least a couple of my pieces. So if anyone's interested, you can check that out. And I'll gather some people that I'll recommend for the next week.
Melanie, I know you dropped the microphone, but anything you want to promote out there? Melanie is typing. Not yet. But I just want to point out that Melanie is an awesome artist.
Yes.
In fact, all three of you are awesome. And you're all awesome at art. Melanie is constantly putting new art out there on Twitter and many other social medias. Her Twitter is @meltingdoll, which is a very cool play on the phonetic name.
Pronunciation.
And her Instagram is the same, @meltingdoll.com. Or sorry, not @meltingdoll.com. @meltingdoll. I sound like my aunt. It's @bebars.com. Which is actually a place, by the way.
It is now, yeah.
No, it is, because when you have the name B-Bars, you get to own everything that is B-Bars.
Like the whole conglomeration of everything that...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Zach, anything you want to promote?
Check out Big Head on Netflix.
Okay. Nice.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. Then that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you for joining me, and pleasure streaming.
Bye.
Take care.
See you all in a week.
See you in a week.